Oh, well, we will go live. We're going live here today with sorry. We're getting the technical thing taken care of here. Thanks everyone. Welcome once again to the Exit Your Way Roundtable. Boom, wouldn't you know it, the first one on my profile, and I got kind of hooked up because we were sitting here talking and Facebook deleted me, but good for them. But anyway, I got with me today, I've got Jacob Warren from Warren Research, real excited, long-term friend and business associate. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today, Damon.
Oh man, it is so cool to get you on. And I mean, it happened out that this was the first time on my profile. They finally gave me LinkedIn Live after I think it was like 12 tries of them not giving it to me, right? So
yeah.
that was pretty funny because it was kind of on a whim. And then all of a sudden I just sent it in and it's like, hey, yeah. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. What happened the last 11 times?
Yeah, it could be the other 30 live streams we did on our company page. That might have been what it was. But anyway, so we got that going. We're going to talk today about remote worker IT support, which I think has got to be a big deal now. With so many people that aren't in the office anymore, not to mention, just you think of hard to work like that, but then you think about now I don't have all my computers connected in the same location for a lot of people, and we're trying to figure out how to transfer data, and then we're trying to figure out that there's always that one person in the company that always has trouble with their stuff, and how do you support them? And so it'll be interesting to get into some of that stuff. But Jacob, tell me, let's go back a ways and let's kind of, what really made you want to be in IT, or where did you come to figure that out?
I think where it came for me is I think I was around 10 or 11 years old, and my dad at the time gave me some computer components, and I put them together, and the system worked afterwards. And
Right.
yeah, and so that got me hooked. Before that, I had just been more of a user. Started out on the old Commodore 64 that some of us remember and
Yeah.
stuff. And so even messed around with the old Amigas and things like that. And it wasn't until I really put together my own computer out of miscellaneous parts that it really hooked me from there. It was around the same time I was looking and picked up an interest in something called amateur radio or ham radio.
Yeah.
And then went from there. And so ever since then, I love the idea of that if you put all these electrical components together and you didn't shock yourself, it worked. So I was hooked from then on. That led into the doing it in the military, doing it on my own, and doing it for private companies. Just I think I've figured out, been doing IT professionally for a little bit more than 20 years.
Yeah. It seems just like yesterday when you started, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, especially and to see what's changed from back then till now. I mean, I remember putting the old AMD processors in and accidentally overclocking a little too much and hearing that little pop sound and seeing a little bit of smoke come up and going, oh man, there went $400.
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff. And so to where we are now, where we're talking about getting building systems with 16 cores and beyond, and it's only going to get greater. I mean, now quantum computing is the thing. So it's pretty exciting to see how far technology has come over the years, and that's something that keeps me interested in it as well. Is there's always something new, always some type of new way of breaking it and also making it work better.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's no doubt. I mean, because when I started out running businesses years ago, I mean, that's when you still had the days of having your email server in a room and your whole MRP system ran through that damn thing. And if something happened to that, it was basically you got, 50 people sitting around wondering what they're going to do, because you can't, nothing's happening. And now, I mean, it's with the speeds of the internet and the cloud servers and the cloud services, with email and web, it really has changed that so much.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, when you'd actually have 4 or 5 people running just the database portion of a server, not let alone email and everything else, then it was a huge investment for companies. And the great thing about technology, it's become a lot less expensive, which has allowed smaller businesses to take advantage of those tools. And when that happens, innovation happens. And so
Yeah.
that's the other piece that's really exciting is, I mean, especially with the businesses that you work with, you've seen it where, like you just said, where it is that behemoth of a company just to run something that we have in our palm now. And
Yeah.
so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So when you look at the remote work environment that we have now, that's both in office and remote, because a lot of people are going to stay with this hybrid work design, I believe. You've talked before about, what was it, the attack surface? Is that what the words you used, or something like that? That they have. How is that changing that?
Well, so an attack surface is just imagine a surface laid out in front of you, and you think of it as what are you as a company, or what are you as a solopreneur? What type of vulnerabilities do you have in the applications and different things that you're working with and using day in, day out? And so when we go from this environment where everybody's within the same building, everybody's using or is able to use the same network resources,
Yeah.
which network resources are different than your computer, when you start thinking about it, because you walk into a room, you turn on a light switch, and you just know that electricity got there. And so it's basically, when you go into an office, you sit down in front of your computer, you have an internet connection, and you hope it's as secure as possible. And so by what this pandemic has done is put us into an arena where those consolidated resources are no longer there. People working from their homes, where they'll have an off-the-shelf low-end router with no security,
Yeah.
or very limited amount of security. Or in some cases, some of them lock it down so much that then you're running into some other troubleshooting issues, and it's blocking the wrong things. And so the overall attack surface in all this has gotten larger for some companies.
Yeah. Yeah, because you do have the risk of an employee now that's logging into your secure company data over an unsecure connection.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that introduced something called where there's greater opportunity for what's called man-in-the-middle attacks, where
Yeah.
you ensure the connection from your staff directly to that location, and if so, how are you making sure that connection stays as secure as possible?
Yeah.
And there's things like VPNs and things like that you can take advantage of, but there is also other security issues, because what happens after that, or after a user disconnects from your network and then turns around with that same device and connects to a site off that network?
Yeah.
How is the security being maintained on that device?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of security stuff to go, and it's something that a friend of mine, Ron Craig, talks about a lot. And
Yeah,
he's that proponent of the two-factor authentication, which everybody, it's good. It's good. I know it's what we have to do. it's a bit of a pain, but it's a good thing to do, and a lot of other stuff I'm sure that you run into. Now, one of the things that I think is really interesting now about when you look at, you talk about a small business and you look at the things that are available to them now, what are some of the exciting things that you see that are really changing the way that you can do business in these smaller businesses compared to what used to be, you had to have 50 or 100 employees. Now I've got 10 employees or 5 employees, and I can really take advantage of things that I couldn't before. What are some things there that you see that are pretty interesting for people?
Collaboration.
Yeah,
Honestly, and what that boils down to is things like Microsoft Teams
yeah,
and the way that people are starting to really utilize it. The exciting things with this technology is that even though there's this attack surface out there that you have to maintain, the cost to secure those networks, secure those
yeah,
devices is very reasonable, to the sense that there's no reason not to now. With that being said, what I'm seeing a lot of people do is really take advantage of the cloud services, of the cloud services that are out there, things like Office 365, Microsoft Azure, and different cloud services and solutions that are available, and essentially only uh, is scaling their business to only use what they're actually using and not overbuying or over
yeah,
investing in technology resources,
yeah, yeah,
throughout it. So
yeah. And you make a good point, because the collaboration is something that I see a lot of people um, still kind of figuring out, but the ones that have figured it out are like, uh, this is something I should have done a long time ago. Because when you add a tool like Microsoft Teams, and I know there's Zoom and other things like that,
yeah,
but I really look at the collaboration tools, and I think that if you are in a PC environment where you're using Windows-based products, and I'm not a tech guy by any means, the things that Teams does that other Zoom or Slack, or you can just, there's a bunch of them that are out there, don't do or do differently, I think is where Teams really, yes, it's a Microsoft product. Everybody understands that. So let's get past that. But the thing about it is the file sharing, the security, the built-in video calling and normal calling. It really is a powerful product when you've got it integrating with your catalog and your SharePoint and everything else behind it. And the way that you can share, I can then create a team for an outside person, like you and I have some teams in the shared clients we're working on, and we work in those just like it's a normal ecosystem that you would have had to do some funky thing a while ago. It'd be a lot harder to share files and the messaging and video calling and things like we do now.
well, and you do make a great point with that. But here's one of the um, I think, which is a huge benefit now, is the fact that you don't have to have a PC anymore.
Yeah,
With the integrations and things that happen, I mean, you can have an entire Mac environment, for example,
yeah,
and take full advantage of Teams,
that's
Office,
true.
and those features. And so, because it's more web centric, they've made their software products more cross-platform in that sense. You can share files. So really, the limitation only comes down to how are you going to use it. Because even when it comes to different CRMs that you're using, there's
Yeah,
usually some type of module that will tie into Teams, so you can actually make Teams your focus. And so that has a lot of advantages for smaller businesses. And when I say smaller, I'm talking about that 300 employee or under business, all the way down to even if you only have a handful of people.
yeah,
It really becomes an advantage because you have one pane of glass you're looking through, and you don't have all these miscellaneous applications. And so those integrations are really key. And the different companies like Microsoft, Zoom, um, there's one out there called Blue Jeans, that's a web program as well. They all give us they were scaling up their businesses to make sure that that cross platform, that truly, if whatever device you're on, you're able to do the same activities. And so it's it's really awesome to see in the market in general, is because when the tool is easier for you, the end user, to take advantage of, the more you're going to use it, the more you're going to accomplish with it. And even when you look at Teams, for example, one of the reasons I said collaboration is, think of how often you'd have a guy in an office that would get up, walk over to Tom in the other office, or Sarah in what other office, and the amount of time that's spent there, where they jump on Teams, they send their one message, boom, it's done. Now, it
Yeah.
does give some opportunity for some people to hang out there a little too much, but those things, there's certain things and parameters you can put in place to help limit that as much as possible. So it's really exciting to see that these tools are really able to be put in the hand of a small business, regardless of your size.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching a video a while ago. Now it's a long time ago now, probably, where someone was talking about the Slack, the team messaging, and how they think that's going to really overtake email in time. And I don't know if we'll get there, but that's
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like that with the same with postal mail. I mean, email is
yeah,
so ingrained in everything that
yeah,
I think what will happen, what we may see, is some type of team Outlook merger of some sort.
yeah,
Um, I see for the foreseeable future. Now, that's not to say 20 years from now, but I
yeah,
mean, and that's where, from a technology perspective, it's not always good to adapt to the latest and greatest technology if it doesn't fit your business objectives.
yeah,
And so look at VR, for example. That's a little bit out there. I mean, there's some early adopters that went full heart into it, and it's not ready yet. And so things like when we say, okay, email's dead forever. Well, not really. It's still
yeah,
for that external communication. Internally, you could probably say that yes. There's
yeah,
companies that internally, no more internal company emails. It's all in Teams. I could
yeah,
see that being true now.
yeah. Especially when they start to do better file integration in Teams and some of that other stuff. I think that'll really get it working better. The So what else is interesting? Is there some wicked mobile stuff that's coming out that's going to make us all go ooh and ah, or are we seeing more of the same in that environment?
From the mobile, it's going to be more of the same, with the exception that it's going to be simpler, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Because what it is there's the point where mo we understand that mobile first is a priority.
yep,
Um, that kind of merger between desktop productivity compared to mobile, what
yeah.
I see, where we're leaning more and more towards, is that your mobile device will be your one device. You'll come pop it in something, and then you'll have your desktop
Oh,
environment. So I think we're going to move more towards that's going to become your epicenter, and for a lot of people it already has.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
um,
interesting. That would be kind of cool actually to see that moving in that direction. So, good. So what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome when you went from these people that all of a sudden in an office to now you got them all over? I know you had to have some emergency calls that are like, hey, this what's going on here. So what are some of the more interesting ones that you had to deal with?
it honestly has boiled down to, how do we securely access those machines when they're not in a healthy environment, and then get them up to speed in a healthy environment for our clients. And so that boils down from our end all the way to the client's end. So one of the great things about technology now, and especially when it comes to video, is in providing remote support to people. Um, is the ability to have a video call and literally have somebody with a cell phone looking at whatever issue they're having, taking their cell phone and actually being able to use their footage in real time and walk them through some type of hardware failure.
Yeah.
There's been complete network upgrades that have done where it was done strictly with, a owner operator there at the location, video call, and um, sitting in front of looking at all their devices and then making sure to secure their network and get them do the network upgrade without actually having a technician go there.
Yeah.
Um, and it's only going to get more intuitive when it comes from that. So, for example, the solutions that we use, we're now able to take and do a live video call, kind of like that your personal assistant type idea, where
Yeah.
when you do a support call, I can have a video, talk to you straight face to face, so to speak, giving you more of that personal experience, and then troubleshoot your issue, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And so it makes it a lot quicker for IT, both internal and external IT shops, to be able to resolve issues. That's, I think, has been the challenge and the most exciting stuff, because when the tools are better, both for the user and the technicians, it makes everybody's life a lot easier.
Yeah, I would imagine, because now if you can resolve the simpler issues with a video call or some sort of video interface, the discussion, whatever it needs to be, and then you would save your technicians time too to go to the real difficult problems.
Well, yeah, and the other aspect of it is accountability. So with the technology that we use, we can actually have an auditable view for the customer on what happened and what timeline with their devices. And so what that translates to is, if you are within an organization that has compliance related things that you need to keep up on, you can now say, hey, when did a technician access this? There's even is an area where we can, for certain clients, turn it on where each instance and each thing that we do is recorded in a playbackable video that they can then look at and make sure. And so there's a lot more accountability because of that attack surface. We want to make sure that our customers are not only satisfied, but are assured that, hey, when we do something, we do it, we're out. Even though we have that access, we're accountable to each one of our customers.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I think that this is something that we're going to continue to be learning over the next couple of years here, because and I'll get your feedback on this, but I really think that the whole COVID this year has driven us into this hybrid workplace, and I think it's going to be somewhat permanent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and just the conversations that definitely starting to or have been having and starting to have with different clients, not only our clients but clients of other IT organizations and stuff, is that their approach is, hey, we're going to be 100% virtual from here on out, and it's there becomes that risk balance that's there. So, when we talk about attack surface for IT security and IT products, you can see where there is a similarity of when somebody's talking about COVID and the risk that they're willing to accept, with or without a mask and so forth. It's easier to digest now, because unfortunately, there is a real world instance of why is it important to limit the risk factors.
Yeah.
It doesn't eliminate it, but what it does is keep you safer and keep the effects more manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. So people that are listening now, right? And they're sitting at home. They've been at home a while. At your home network on your Wi-Fi, just put a password on it. Is that what we should be doing, or should we be doing more than that?
Absolutely be doing more than that. So here's where it comes down with home devices. So if you have a small business, there's no reason why you shouldn't have advanced security software on the systems. Here's one catch though. If you just implement that, that means you're preventing a threat after it's already inside your home.
Okay.
So what you need to be looking at is the cost of firewalls. And especially if you're any type of professional, are so low nowadays, and you can get these smaller devices that there's no reason you shouldn't. When people are looking, if you have a Netgear Nighthawk, for example, it's I think, depending on where you buy it, it's anywhere from $300 to $400 plus for the device. That's the same ballpark you are for these smaller firewall devices. And what that firewall has that's different is it specializes in making sure that the traffic or the things that are supposed to get to your network are the only things that get to it.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to think, hey, even when you go to bed at night, you still lock the front door. It's the same thing. The firewall is that front door. Do you want a door that everybody and their uncle could lean up against and it would fall over? Or do you want a door that hey, it's going to take brute force of many, many different types in order to do that, or to break it down?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point, because it is getting, and I know that you've helped some of your clients with that in the past, is actually implementing that type of firewall for their remote workers as well. And
Yeah, and the great thing is, if you have a diverse mobile workforce now, so we work with a company called Sophos. There's a lot of other vendors that are out there, but both the endpoints and the firewalls and the rest of the network, they'll come under a central dashboard where you as a business owner have one set of reports that you're looking at, one set of results that you're getting from it. And so the manageability of it is a lot lower, which translates to where, if you're not quite big enough to have an internal IT staff person dedicated to it, it makes it a lot more reasonable to then have a professional vendor manage that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool, because I never thought of it like that, but who's ever talking or working on your IT or managing your IT can manage all your remote workers' firewalls as well, and make sure that that's going like you wanted it to.
Yeah, because and that gets to where you, as the let's say that you're a work from home professional now, they can actually split up the network into two different environments. One that's for your home, that's however you want it to be, with um, less security than a lockdown network. When you plug in a device, it only allows a couple devices on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really cool, because I never thought of it like that. I never considered the fact that how handy that would be for if you had a lot of remote workers to be able to deploy those devices at the security part of it like that. And then basically the device that they used in the office, if they're using a laptop, they can use it from home, and you've got relatively solid security there.
Yes, and well, in one of the pain points, so to speak, that a lot of people ran into is that when they would do this, it would be a slower internet experience for
Yeah.
the professional. Well, there's technologies like SD-WAN and how it's managed and stuff where it will actually hand off the traffic to the shortest route possible. And so what that means is if you're using these cloud services, it's going to route that traffic efficiently to them, and then the traffic that needs to go back to a central location, it's going to successfully do that, all in the background where you as the end user aren't running into a performance impact. And that's the other thing that's really exciting through all this, is that with how the connections work and how fast the internet it has become for the access, really when a company wants to commit to be remote, they are able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like you have to do the infrastructure upgrades like we used to when everything was slow.
Yes. Yeah. Going over T1 lines, and you have to have $1,000 internet connection just to get it. So it is definitely exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Well, Jacob, I think it's been cool to talk to you. So you're Warren Research. What's your website? WarrenResearchInc.com, if I'm right?
Yep, WarrenResearchInc.com. And you can go there and connect with us directly. We specialize, and so we're a Microsoft partner. So we fully work with their Office 365 suite. So including their email services. We're actually a company that is authorized to work with government agencies as well through that. And so makes it really awesome for that's the other thing that we skimmed over, is you're seeing a lot of your municipalities and stuff take advantage of these resources as well.
But, and I forgot about that, because you support municipalities and police stations and fire departments and other things like that. And because people don't realize they have the same kind of needs that everyone else does, but they've got a lot different security needs as well. So
and a lot of times cost is a huge factor, and they're able to now migrate their systems over to hybrid cloud solutions. But WarrenResearchInc.com. You can connect there. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we're able to help you with your IT needs, or connect you with a specialty organization that can help you in key areas as well.
Awesome, Jacob. Well, it's great to get to talk to you again, and it's always good to learn from you, because hell, you keep the stuff running. I mean, that's what it does. It works better, and at the end of the day, we all get to do what we really want to do, and that's do our business, and you keep it running in the background. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for having me on, and I'm looking forward to future events as well. And so thank you. Technology is only going to get more interesting.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thanks a lot, Jacob. We're going to go for now. Thanks everyone for watching.